Hi, and welcome to another Facebook Live. This is, again, our weekly Thursday at noon Facebook Live, and we are coming live from sunny Southern California. Last week, I discussed the many toxins that we face, from relationships to pesticides to contaminated food and contaminated water. One listener felt overwhelmed by all the various types of toxins in our environment. I really appreciate your feedback, Ron. It's not every day people let me know how my Facebook Lives go, but instead of feeling overwhelmed, try to simply focus on one area of toxin exposure per week. For example, clean out your pantry 1 week, get rid of expired food, evaluate your cookware and your food storage containers. Stay away from plastic. Consider buying an air purifier, 1 week, and so on. So speaking of food, next week is Thanksgiving. We will not be coming live at that time. It's a holiday. It's a time for friends and family to unite and share their thanks. Despite living in a time of a global pandemic, we have so much to be grateful for. And that's really the purpose of this holiday, is to share in our gratitude. And Thanksgiving is really all about what? Overeating, feeling uncomfortably full, and then falling asleep standing up. Why do we indulge? We look forward to this holiday for weeks, and for some people, probably months. This year, try to show some restraint. Choose your food wisely, and avoid foods that you know will upset your stomach, make you feel bloated. Eat slow. Chew your food, and be thankful for your food. So they call it the 5 C's. The first C is choose the right food. Choose healthy food. The second one is chew your food. Third is chill while you're eating. The fourth is cherish your food. Thank the people who grew the food, picked the food, prepared the food. And then the 5th C is check your stool. Kind of disgusting, but yeah, making sure that it's coming out okay. So again, we often eat too much. I encourage everyone to make healthy food choices. It's always the friends that bring the bad stuff. So if you're a guest, bring a healthy dish. There are plenty of resources online. During the day, try to drink a lot of water. Watch your portion size. Avoid the food coma. Focus on filling your plate with lean meats, vegetables, and fruits. Reduce your sugar intake and alcohol intake. What I do is I take a digestive enzyme supplement and a beneficial probiotic supplement that can aid in digestion. Something to consider. But let's face it, we overindulge. So I challenge you to kind of keep a lid on your food intake and your beverage intake. Snack on a food or vegetable platter with hummus as opposed to ranch dressing. And how about some cauliflower mashed potatoes? So what about pumpkin pie? Well, just try cutting a smaller piece and refrain from going back for seconds. Test your willpower. We know that willpower tends to wane as the day goes on, and we tend to get weaker. But try to sustain your willpower as best you can. And remember, we're still in the midst of a viral pandemic. It would be ideal to have people outside, but I know a lot of country it's cold. But if you're indoors, keep the windows open and allow for air circulation. Pre-testing everyone for COVID who is visiting your house or where you're going to be going is unrealistic. However, if you are someone who is not feeling well, stay home. Be responsible. Hand washing, social distancing, and wearing a mask will reduce your risk of contracting SARS-CoV-2. We know that. Obviously, we're not going to be wearing masks while we're socializing, but keeping groups small. So let's talk about the SARS-CoV-2 virus vaccine that will be coming to market in early 2021. Single-stranded RNA virus. This CoV-2 is similar to mumps, measles, and influenza. The front runners in the vaccine race right now are Pfizer and Moderna. They're both developing an mRNA vaccine, and there are several types of vaccines that can be made. Measles vaccine and the influenza vaccine are similar. The vaccine developers, their primary concern is safety and efficacy. And we will know the safety probably after about 300,000 people have been vaccinated, even though they've gone through phase 1, 2, and 3 trials. It appears that a booster vaccine will be needed, usually about a month later, but the preliminary studies are showing good immune response with 2 injections. The people who will be first tier will be first responders, doctors, nurses, transportation workers, people over 65, the elderly, people who work in water sanitation, people with comorbid conditions like obesity, hypertension, diabetes, COPD. So that's going to be about 150 million people in the first tier. So far, studies have shown a good immune response. However, one thing you don't want to do is if you do have a fever after getting the vaccine, is taking something that reduces your fever. Taking a fever reducer to reduce a fever after a vaccine reduces the vaccine's efficacy. So talking about EUA, a lot of people have questions about that. That's emergency use authorization. And in times like these, the testing for COVID has an EUA, or an emergency use authorization. The vaccine administration, or the vaccine developers also have an EUA. When they do come out with a vaccine, again, it will be happening in a couple months. Operation Warp Speed will be Moderna's vaccine, and that'll be probably distributed by the military and given to states, and then the states will decide how to distribute that, typically through pharmacies. And then, again, first-tier people will be getting that, and it's going to be a huge challenge. The Moderna vaccine has to be shipped at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Pfizer's vaccine apparently minus 70 degrees Fahrenheit. And then the stability of these vaccines is about 24 hours. There are other phase 1 trials going on looking at T-cell response against the spike proteins. And so we're really going to hope to find the best and most effective vaccine. After the vaccine comes out, it'll still be months before these immunizations are widely available. And the vaccine development, usually to bring a vaccine to market, requires 15 to 20 years. And it's only taken a couple months for these vaccines to be developed. And the vaccine development was initiated after the SARS-CoV-2 genome was posted, and that was early January of 2020. Manufacture and delivery of clinical trial material was completed within 45 days. And the first trial participants were vaccinated, March 16th, 2020, just 66 days after the genomic sequence of the virus was posted. The vaccine trials have shown a rapid and robust immunogenicity or immune response profile due to its innovative structure-based vaccine antigen design, coupled with these potent lipid nanoparticles and the use of these modified nucleotides that avoid early intracellular activation of interferon-associated genes. So a little technical there, I apologize. Moderna's vaccine doesn't just block the virus in most cases, but also shields people who do get sick from the worst outcomes of the disease. It also eases concerns that a vaccine for COVID may make the disease worse, not better. So that's good news. We know both Moderna and Pfizer started their trials in late July of this year. And so they've been able to follow their volunteers who have received the vaccines for a few months so far, which isn't a long time. It's conceivable that vaccines provide long-lasting protection. Or could they just fade away under a year and require a booster? This we'll know more once the vaccine has been widely distributed. So it's kind of exciting. But I think with the vaccine coming soon, again, I still think it's critical that we try to avoid getting the vaccine and implement safety measures to avoid coming down with COVID, because it can be quite serious, not only in the elderly, but in healthy adults, maybe 40 to 65. There's been cases even in athletes where they're getting myocarditis, which is inflammation of the heart muscle, and even vasculitis, when this is not a virus that typically causes viremia or infection of the bloodstream. Most of this is due to an autoimmune phenomena that is triggered when our body is fighting a virus. So again, this is a serious virus. It's not just like influenza, even though one of these single-stranded mRNA viruses, very similar, but it's a little bit more teratogenic or pathogenic and can be quite serious. And of course, it can lead to pneumonia and death. And right now, we've gone over 250,000 deaths in the United States. And the number of cases that we're seeing every day is actually, if you're following it online, is skyrocketing. 173,000 new cases and corresponding increase in the death rate. So I would say, try to do your best not to lower your guard and to be responsible and try to avoid getting the virus, because the vaccine is on the horizon. And some of the other companies that, again, there's 4 different vaccine design models. We're not sure who's going to be the best and most effective and safest, but we'll know in a very short period of time. And I think it's plausible that some of us may never contract the virus. Whereas a few months ago, people would say, hey, you're going to get it eventually, right? Why not, what difference does it make? And I think that's kind of a cavalier way of thinking about this. So if you have any questions, or if you're listening, it's always nice to have people type in the chat box your name and where you're from, or if you have any questions about Thanksgiving, avoiding overindulgence. Again, the main foods that seem to cause bloating and inflammation of our GI tract: sugar, flour, wheat, dairy. So be cautious. A lot of mashed potatoes are made with milk and butter, and if you're sensitive to that, again, be cautious. A lot of gravies are made with dairy, and certainly salad dressings as well. And again, 3/4 of the world's population doesn't make the enzyme to break down the main sugar in dairy, which is lactose. So that already can cause some bloating and diarrhea. So use caution, unless you do fine with dairy. All right. So again, please ask away. And if you have questions, even about last week's talk about toxins, and again, sorry, it was kind of like drinking from a fire hose with all the different toxins that are in our environment. But it is something we all need to be cognizant about and do our part for our own body to minimize toxin ingestion, toxin exposure. Hey, Ron, thank you for saying hello. And but doing a little bit, maybe each week, and maybe writing some things down. So each week you can maybe look at a different topic and invest in your health, because it's our only body, and our health is our number one asset. And when you have your health, you're a millionaire. And that's a quote from Yossi Alter, who's one of my triathlete buddies. When you have your health, you're a millionaire. So if there are no questions, I think I'll be signing off. Again, I want to wish everybody a wonderful Thanksgiving week. And we'll start again first part of December. We'll be talking about hormone replacement therapy in men and women. It'll probably be a 2-part video. And then if I can get some of my shy colleagues to come on, and it's great because I have some really smart colleagues that I'd love to bring them on and pick their brain on their area of specialty. So we'll see how that unfolds in these coming weeks. Until then, again, if you're looking for a functional medicine doctor who looks at root cause medicine and is looking out for your health, come visit OC Sports and Wellness. We're in Foothill Ranch in Southern California, and we are currently accepting new members to our membership model. It's a flat rate with incredible price transparency, and we're really in your court when it comes to trying to save healthcare costs, which are skyrocketing each year. And at this point, there's no end in sight. So think about that. And without further ado, I want to thank you for those of you who have been listening to this. It's always fun to put these these talks together. Thank you.